Hi, kindergartners, and welcome back with Mrs. Buck. I'm going to be talking to you again about writers today. So, we've been reading lots of books that get us thinking about what writers do. Another word for a writer is an author. So, let's take a look back at all the books that we've been talking about and then the books we've read. This one was Library Mouse. Remember this story about the little mouse who couldn't think of anything to write? And at the very end, he decides that he is his own favorite author. This was written by Daniel Kirk. This was one that we read that was a true story. And these people did some research where they actually went around the world and studied what it means to be a kid. And this was written by Maya Ajmira and John D. Ivanko. This one was a cute story written by Scott Mention about all the favorite things that he likes to do that make him happy. So this little girl goes around asking everyone, what makes you happy, to help her decide what she likes to do. Remember this story, This Quiet Lady? This one was about a little girl looking at photographs of her mom growing up, and it kind of told the story of her life. And finally, we read this story, The Art Lesson by Tommy DePaola, and we learned how he became an artist even as a young child in kindergarten. He decided that that's what he wanted to do because it was one of his favorite things. So all of these authors came up with different ideas for their stories. They're all very different, and that's what I want you to think about. When you're a writer, what are you going to start writing? Half of the half of the trouble with writing is coming up with what you're going to write about. And so I'd like to work with you today to think about what you might want to write, because when you come to class at Forest Hills, you're going to go to a writing center and you're going to work all by yourself on some writing. And Mrs. Buck and Miss Daria and Miss Gable and Miss Bennell and Miss Laura are not always going to tell you, this is what I want you to write. Sometimes we're just going to say, I want you to think of something you write about whatever you like, because we don't want to always tell you what to write. But sometimes kids get stuck and they go, I don't know what to write about. So here's a good way to start. It's brainstorming. Today I want you to brainstorm, and that means think of as many things as you can, almost like a cloud with a storm in your brain, about things that you might like to write about. So we're going to come up with some topics today. I'm going to write that word topic right behind me because that's the vocabulary word I'd like you to know. A topic is something that you know about, something that you want to know more about, or something that you just like to write about. So what topics would you like to write about? Let's see. A topic. Okay. So I want you to think for a minute about what you might like to write about. The topic is the subject that's going to be discussed. So I'm going to write that down so we can remember. Subject means it could be a person, a place, or a thing that you would like to write about. Topic, subject, being, and discuss is what you are talking about, just like discuss. All right, the subject being discussed. I want you to think about some of your things that you know a lot about. So let's think. When you begin writing or drawing, I want you to think about things that you would like to share about, things that you know a lot about, maybe. Yesterday, we discussed our favorite things to do, and those are also called hobbies. So maybe you want to talk about your favorite hobbies. So we could come up with a class list of all of our favorite hobbies. Maybe some of us like to jump rope is a good hobby. Maybe some of us like to play with action figures is your favorite hobby. Maybe some of us like to draw with chalk. So these are some hobbies that you could write about. Another thing you could write about is people that you know about. So maybe you just want to write about yourself, you're a person. Maybe you want to write about your family. Maybe you want to write about a friend. Or maybe you want to write about somebody who's famous and you want to write a story about them. So someone famous, you could always write a story about like Johnny Appleseed. Lots of people wrote about him. He's someone famous and people researched and wrote books about him. You could also write about a special event, something that has happened like a birthday party or a holiday, maybe a first day of school. Maybe you got a new baby brother or sister. So you can also write about an event. An event is something that has happened that you want to write about. Something that happened, like a birthday party or a new brother or sister. Something that already happened. Let's do a party. Great ideas for writing, don't you think? I might need to turn the page so we can write some more. And there's going to be one more thing. Let's just see if we can fit this at the bottom. Of course, you might want to write about things that you love. And that makes me think about Tommy DePaola's book, The Art Lesson. He loves art. That also makes me think of that Scott Mention book about things that make him happy. So you want to write about things that you love. Maybe you love the ocean. Maybe you love to travel. So you could think about things you know a lot about or things you love. Maybe you love dinosaurs. You write about the things that you love, and that will make your readers want to read it more because they can tell how much you enjoy writing about it. So I want you to start brainstorming at home, things that you might want to write about when you come to school. And when you get here, that way you'll have plenty of ideas that you can sit and write for days and days about all the things that you love to do. And that way you won't sit and get stuck and say, I don't know what to write about.